we say for money na akwa biem. For once ni hana all the latest updates in our system go bia. Wow like any so like it no shama on you so the any BAT. You see no Martin Kpebu a lot of updates be brave any actions are and the government the A2 Senebia Kenofrata all the 78 count of corruption charges are the OSP the abono at least ibenya justice amagana for nyina de ehwato yen na enema wo keka no enema chese ehu pa na se be kan a eno asoso ehu se this kind of rata issue no pop up in parliament house afenyo marking sorry the ding when obi anka kind of rata asem na the ofem no yare bit ma to bia to kasa hwe no kasa blah 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 no na mahama yare so no den set the record straight teacher say na kenofrata yare yehu wonanim class na anim ayeden ahoho kakra yes still no so be finance minister and ne wanim nyina atwetwe also yare na the corruption cases are about to so be you one now so ba just no so no ordination that time kono and ne Martin people chere say Attorney General in Ghana file some application be linking up with the US Attorney General. I'm say no, so we are the US Attorney General Eddie Kenofrata call US court straightforward. I am from Ghana. Na cases be will be an omedino ho. So on Ghana, baby could be an idea omedin be cause. I just say that corruption cases in a could deal or US. In could see said in sending
is that standard practice, lawyer, from what you do know? That if there's a review going on of a sort, because there's some new information available to Interpol, they will take the person's name and details off and the wanted notice off while the review goes on. And afterwards, what? Put him back?
That's if the, yes, show that he should be put back. So the context is that currently there is, let's call it legal proceedings at Interpol. Mm-hmm. So they have a unit responsible for this. So it's practically like a court on its own. So OSP, or let's say Ofori against OSP. Mm-hmm. So you file, the Ofori is complaining that there's no basis to have him on the Interpol red alert, blah, blah, blah. Then OSP says, no, there is. They say, okay, each of you file your case. They've done, then there are responses. So if you read the procedure, it's practical, there's going to be a decision. So judicial, well, okay, it's administrative, since it's not a court. Some administrative proceedings in there. So they'll go through each part to argue their case, present what evidence they have. Then at the end of the day, the committee would come to a decision on it. So if they come to a decision that, yes, Ofori's name should be fully restored, it will be done. If they come to a decision that there is no basis, then his name will be taken off. So really, and when I say his name will be taken off, let me correct this, because OSP is very particular about it. Mm-hmm. It's not as if his name is totally off the system. As what it means that right now is restricted. You and I can't see it as Ofori, but the value is the same. Mm-hmm. Basic thing is that he's no longer a person that if any Interpol member saw today, they can arrest. That's the real point, because once he remained on the list, and then when we say Interpol, so Interpol is what? Police organizations around the world. So the countries that have joined, over 100, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that once he's on the red notice alert, it means that if he was found in Togo, they could arrest him. If he was found in the US, they could arrest him. So now with what has happened with this decision to restrict him, so it means that if they found him today, they will not arrest him. That's the most important thing.
I see.
Yes.
So if he is seen today,
yes,
to the extent that
yes, he's been removed, restricted. Yes, we are using effective communication. The key thing is, what is the effect of what has been done? The main effect is that he will not be arrested. So
if he's seen today?
Yes. So whether you call it removal or what do you call it, restriction, the key thing is that would he be arrested today if he's found? No. And now let's situate this. So it's not really about the Interpol red notice. So what it does is to like blacklisting. Okay, so it's something, there's some effect in a blacklisting. But if we look at what Ghanaians have been looking for, which is that he must come back to Ghana, that one is a long shot. Long shot because even if he's arrested today, he will not be automatically brought to Ghana today or tomorrow. No. You see the extradition that the Attorney General is working on, that is what has to be granted. You know, they will do it, send it to the U.S. government. Then the U.S. government will go through it, the Home Department, blah, blah, they'll look at it. Then they will go to court. So eventually there will be court proceedings in the U.S. because Ofori will contest his return to Ghana, right? And so it's not today or tomorrow. And you see why every day I'm pained and I keep saying that. So the man who allowed Ofori to escape, that's Kesi Ejabe, has to leave the office immediately because he's fueling the suspicion that they colluded. Let me tell you something. You know how this world works. Because people want justice in this case, I've been given credible information that all this while in January, when we started saying that, look, if Ofori is not coming, then let's take steps to do trial in absentia so that we can confiscate his properties, etc. And it wasn't done, they delayed. It turns out that in the interim, Ofori is trying to get permanent residence in the U.S.
You got this information from where?
Oh, you know, this work we do, if I had to disclose all my sources would dry out.
You say it's credible.
Yes, credible. Yeah, but I have to keep citizen journalism. I have the right to keep that. So right now, the key thing is that, and that's why it's even irking me more. So as OSP was doing kukwasa, Ofori through one of his sons has applied for him to get permanent residence in the U.S.
I see. And
so
this,
that complicates his return.
I see. This you are able to prove. Sorry? You're able to prove because this is from a credible source.
Yes.
So you have enough information to prove that indeed he has applied to get permanent.
Oh no, they will release it. But I look at where the source is coming from. I believe it. And of course, if push comes to shove, we'll go into the U.S. system. That at least is there. Okay, we'll do a request, RTI request to the Homeland Security and the Home Department in the U.S. So the key thing is that as we're here from January, we started asking for trial in absentia. OSP came and were giving us ludicrous answers that no, you cannot do trial in absentia. 11 months only to do a U-turn. So then it fuels the suspicion. The analysts are like, oh, so when they deny trial in absentia, so that it gives Ofori enough opportunity to get permanent residence.
They're going to court on Monday.
Yes.
The fugitives, as has been described, they are not in the country, obviously. So the trial is going to go on.
Yes.
What's going to happen on Monday is they're going to hear them.
Yes, but that
will be in the absence of Ofori.
Preliminary
Does that amount to a trial in absentia?
Yes, the trial is, let's say this, before the trial in absentia will be done, Article 19 Clause 3 requires that the OSP will prove to the court that Ofori has been notified, the very thing we have been talking about. As to how they do the notification, Monday will come, then we'll see. If they've done it, fine. But if they've not, then it means that for Ofori and Esakori, his chef de cabinet, or is it chief de cabinet, his PA, let's use the simple term, his PA, the trial for them will not go on if there is no proof, cogent proof that they've been notified. Because let's read 19 Clause 3. It says that he has to be notified. So if the accused is notified of the trial and he doesn't come, then that's when the court will go on. But please, that technical term, well, in this case, I would say technical because it's not cheap. Notification, that's what OSP has to prove to the court. And this one lawyer, Tadio Sori, had been saying from day one. You know, Tadio Sori was one of the first to say, let's do trial in absentia. In January, when this matter came, if you check the records, I think for me, in reading commentary on this matter, lawyer Tadio Sori was the first to ask for trial in absentia. Then later, all of us joined. Me, initially, we thought, oh, he would come. And, but it turned out that at least some of us converted far earlier and joined Tadio Sori in asking for trial in absentia. And OSP kept stonewalling, whilst Ofori is taking steps to get better residence in the U.S. so that his coming here will be more complex. And don't forget that he has huge investments in the U.S. Huge investment. And the American government will not lightly throw him under the bus. So you have to be very careful. This is a political decision. Look, at a point, after Kesi Ejabe is left, later in our series to get justice, we may have to organize a demonstration to go to the U.S. Embassy and present a petition. That's what we have to do. We have to mobilize Ghanaians after Kesi Ejabin is left, because that's the first point. We can't trust Kesi Ejabin to do this work because he saw Ofori Atta leave. He saw the letter. I'm happy Professor Ajampo is here. Please, Mr. Okansi, when he gets to his side, let him explain the political theory of the state. How, when I keep saying, when I quote the constitutional provisions and I show that under the constitution, Kesi Ejabin had a mandatory duty to inform Ghanaians once he saw Ofori Atta was leaving, and he alleges that the other.
So you expect that you address a press conference?
Exactly. So I want Professor Ajampo from the governance expert to come. No, there's also governance. Let all the governance experts weigh in. Then we see that it's a serious constitutional matter.
You see,
serious
in this instance, I'll come to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But his lawyers are saying that he has not been formally served.
So that's why we said on Monday we'll hear that. So let me just read it. That's why I said cogent evidence how he's been served. 19.3. Just for those who want to hear the constitutional words, then we'll move on. It says the trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified of the trial. So after he has been duly notified. So Monday we'll see, maybe if OSP did it and has not told us yet, well, Monday we'll see. You see, but the key point we're making is that the extradition itself, look, it's not a joke. It's a whole process. That's how come I said after we get Kesi Ejabin out, we have to mobilize Ghanaians. Once the U.S. government understands that citizens understand what's going on, that extradition is political, maybe it will help them to bring Ofori Atta. But if we leave it to TV analysis, you know, they also gauge public opinion. If a few experts come and sit here and say extradition, and then lots of our citizens are not bothered, it won't happen today. But when we mass up a lawful demonstration quietly to the U.S. Embassy and present a petition that we want the American government to bring down Ofori Atta, it will help.
So that extradition process is what I reserve that for lawyer Christian Mamhesi. Thank you very much. You ask, you have different positions on this. The OSP has been clear on why it was unable to do what two lawyers are asking he should have done. And to the effect, 78 charges of corruption and corruption-related offenses have been slapped on Ofori Atta, and then also some 6 other persons, all in this matter that the OSP is investigating. He's still out of the country, by the way. His lawyers state he has not been formally served. Could anything have been done differently?
You see, Alfred, I am a bit worried listening to Martin and some other lawyers. It appears it's going to be a very Herculean task to bring Mr. Ofori Atta to Ghana to stand trial in person, looking at the processes that would have to be resorted to. It's going to be very laborious. It's going to be very difficult because don't forget, he also has lawyers, and so they will be fighting what the state would, the measures and the efforts that the state will be putting in place. And that is why I believe, Martin, you've done well. When we started doing public discourse in media, you were not part, but you've come. I think you've carved a niche for yourself. I think I like the argument, the bits that you brought in, that then the OSP should have, at a point in time when he realized that he was helpless. I mean, he himself said he was helpless. I called NIB, they were not minding me. I called this one, they wouldn't pick my calls and all that. So I'm saying, maybe, you see, he should have prevented, first of all, he should have prevented the flight or exit of Ofori Atta. Oftentimes when people are given mandates, okay, they settle in, and if you don't really sit down to read about your own mandate, there are certain things you may not be aware of. And so I see you, I look at my act, and I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know whether the OSP didn't know that they have the power to arrest. I don't know. I said I don't know whether they didn't know. And the other bit is that well, so that's what I'm saying. That you have to socialize yourself effectively in your own act. Okay, because
if you say that you don't know your own act, then you don't.
So I'm saying that. No, but so then what was the point in coming to say that I called these agencies to come and help, and they all let me down? If you knew that you yourself had the power to arrest. The second bit, is that
they had opportunity to also seek absconding warrant from the court.
Well,
and that will do his work for him.
The second
you don't arrest people by your mouth.
Yeah. The second bit is that, you see, we oftentimes have tended to believe that when it comes to arrest, it's always about it's a function of the security agencies. Okay. This is what is ingrained heavily and deeply in our psyche as a people. But dear Ghanaians, there's something we call citizen arrest.
That's it.
Okay, we are the ultimate repository of the powers of the land that are exercised by appointees. Let me tell you a story. One day I had gone to a funeral in a village, and I saw somebody using a government vehicle to carry a casket. I stopped them. I told them that you have no right to do that.
A government vehicle.
A government vehicle. I don't drive government vehicle to social events. I want to use my own car. Government vehicles are for government work. But I saw somebody using a state vehicle to carry a casket.
A casket.
Yes. Stop. We stopped them and said, who are you? I'm nobody. But you can't do this. And I exercised that, I mobilized people to appreciate that it is our taxes that are used to buy fuel in this car that is being abused. And so they joined me. We made sure that they got the casket off the vehicle. I said, where do you, I don't want to give, but we were able to prevent that. So my point is, at that point in time, when the OSP saw that he was helpless, and maybe they didn't also appreciate their own powers that they have to arrest. What prevented them from, these days, every now and then, OSP is holding press conference. So why didn't they organize a press conference to tell us, fellow Ghanaians, we wanted to do X, Y, Z. We are calling A, B, C, they are not minding us. And so because of that, we are aware that the
How
man...
about the absconding warrant?
Well,
from the court.
So that the good people of Ghana would have appreciated what you were going through. In that case, the OSP would have escaped the current Court-Kpebu blame on him, that you knew and you were sanctioned, you looked on and then you sanctioned the exit of the man. And so I think that it's a difficult situation. It appears that the fight against corruption through the laid down legal processes is always going to be slow, but our own attitude as officials who are mandated and given the power to do these things must also not compound the delays and the challenges and the problems. So look, somebody is telling me that if you don't take it, we may go through the entire tenure of this administration and the man will still not be here. And because don't forget that he's also smart and resourceful woman of legal gymnastics. Just to be sure. Well, it may not be time bound, but the point is, you strike when the iron is hot. And every Ghanaian, you see, I'm telling you, the survival and stability of our fourth Republican democratic practice is to a large extent also contingent on the kinds of things that are done by this administration in fighting and in addressing corruption. If it becomes business as usual and we perpetuate the cliche that Ubiabasa, it will be difficult, because then people would want to take things into their own hands. And so it is important that examples are set. It is important that the right things are done. And like I said, agencies of state that are given the task and mandate to handle some of these things must also sit up, and they must be up and doing. It appears that in our part of the world, anytime people are given appointment, they go to perpetuate or do the status quo. Nobody goes in there with a psyche of, okay, what can I do to challenge and to question? So look at what happened. You are going to recruit soldiers, and the status quo has been that everybody should be crowded and we should all go. And I mean, when you know that best practices elsewhere, people are able to even apply online and they do things to decongest. You know that unemployment is a serious issue in our part of the world. And so if you say that there is an avenue for employment and people must go, there will be stampede. And so what happened to those who were in charge? Why didn't they say, well, this is how we've done it, but today or in our time, we want to challenge the status quo and do something different? And so I'm saying that as we all get the opportunity to serve, the idea of how was it done yesterday must be challenged.
Yeah.
We should also have innovative
a justification for the change.
For the change, we should also have an innovative ways of working within the confines of the law, but in a manner that challenges the status quo. Let us begin to let citizens know that we are appointees and duty bearers. Even though you may be answerable to your appointing authority, you are ultimately also answerable to the ordinary citizenry whose powers are being exercised by you. And so the citizens have got the right to ask questions. They've got the right to demand accountability. And when we think that we are at our wits' end, when we think that we are facing a lot of frustration, I'm telling you, the most powerful force within the body politic is a citizenry. And so I was thinking that it would have been better, OSP would have escaped some of these blames or accusations.
Article 1, Article 35.
That's the difference between a lawyer and a non-lawyer.
Oh no, let not do that.
Sovereignty resides with the people. Sovereignty resides with the people. And so I think that some way, somehow, in the course of time, the OSP must come apologize to the people.
Apologize, he should leave.
So let me bring in. Thank you.
There are currently 15 petitions for his removal.
Okay,
that's why
let me bring
online.
Okay,
15 petitions. But
I want. No, 1 minute. I'll come to you.
And the basis for my calling
to make the point, and then so that
I'm just explaining the basis for my call. The basis for my call is the fact that his explanation that he called some security agencies and they let him down, for me, is only an excuse. He could have informed the good people of Ghana and would have known what to do.
Okay, Dr. Zato, just on this, especially because of what's going to be happening on Monday, that yes, the OSP is going to court, but then Ofori Atta and one other are still out of the jurisdiction. His lawyers say that he has not been formally served. And this is coming at a time when the OSP itself is also facing the criticism of what he could or the office could have done to prevent Ofori Atta from leaving office. I mean, the coming days pregnant or leaving the country, I beg your pardon, the coming days pregnant with what to expect. But could anything have been done differently?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to start by stating clearly that I believe that the OSP has become, that office, that whole institution has become a relic, and it has outlived its usefulness. It is now a big drain on the finances of this country, and I believe that if I had the power, that whole office should be shut down to Kuda and then Kuda. It's not more fit for purpose.
How do you mean?
I want to state that because if you look at, just do a very
since any muji injichi muji pa Martin Kpebu atune boase with law kwanya first of all say Ofori Atta mpo Ghana ha we na doing so on ha say the Ghana ha court through the constitution omit me dinasam with or without Ofori Atta some of absential trial na ninyina say this case in Bitima Koso without Ofori Atta. It was first of all, Nipana or the Ofori Atta Echo Court no. Ye name say case we so no a OSP any Dima Kotini Yepa. So I was say OSP it can notify Ofori Atta. Then the lawyer say this particular date ye here because charges we are there out also. I was saying it me solve a free hall. on money notice new year we so it's up to a kind of writer in call for somebody on my back court. No, so my back can't do minimum whether they are guilty or they are not guilty. Now, see, almost serve your more notice. Now, still now, omoya small. Dang, now, so man, but their case, no, what you say, no, crabbe free pa, because you are not there to defend whether you are guilty and also when you're guilty. So, information about you say, Monday, Monday, we are OSP. The kind of attack case in Beko Court. And yeah, here's a kind of attack Ghana because you see, Omud in the Beko Court. Mukwa could deny some the 78 count of corruption charges and or more than a air court. So it's up to kind of rata and asking a lawyer and asking who you pay bedding. Beba court to Beba big name. I can't say guilty and also when you're guilty. That's one bad yeah. I just say, I don't say at the forefront. That is the case, you know. Man, I said, a dear friend, absential trial on bed, a say because they are going to rule your case without your presence. And also, at the forefront, only one. I think so. Extradition process now, Attorney General, I shall say so all filing. No, Martin people age, say, I had the power. Dear, so that OSP and now you're not to red notice when Interpol they where you wanted the sign your money now and shadan ya the probably because especially baby ni punish no now what Ghana can a red notice depend the no and shadan ya bia the insia Martin people can say or just say kind of rata as you speak now or say investment why you US na any investment get to or say in your kind investment pa kind of rata investment pa with US na in him say every country be an up again country be up again whether developed, underdeveloped, and as a developing. If you US are developed, but say no what the income bromo pa. So for someone why investment can see pound with US na jane say yembe fanning kokwa no die and that forms are because per Martin people not just say can you ordinary person with US when you ordinary persons are with US. So your investment can say something. A US are buying government near them so some will release you no amount simple in that form sir. So the extradition process now that Attorney General now chance a year because and don't never boy I'm a US Attorney General. It me actually if you move say a quarry wa bokrono no adwane abesha and I say on bokrono because obeying if you move na maybe an Akroma than here or the two no move here. Says in Ghana man in Ghana Street because of investment and why you pay Martin people. So Omobe court ruling as a court process now Kasanka US precon. Ombeshi be also US precon. Not just be beyond the shares as well. No the kind of rather any say because a honorty. Na or you're guilty and also you're guilty. Now so the mass and the crowds here share the young kakani say after the ruling in your nature, the government any be decided. So that's why Professor Jampo can say if say we na ya deal say science in your kind of rat and in your mass service allegedly is so afana identity na OSP a jano manokoye. If said that time no we say na agencies for ni nyina no emboa so you were helpless. I did na press conferences na nansi wo yam wanye bi anka say kenovra ba betu kwan ti eye waye do be bia so na onya mo bia ti be ya Ghana fo nyina so ni stop no wan kasa the way jai din amana ko wi afna wa be kan wi agye so pen Martin people dey say what petition I hold on 115 and command the government say yes sakeno no onyo bia or fit for purpose subscribe na share money so dey nyɛ bintia for once in your